you guys an update on my fitness journey. So I thought I would go ahead and do that while it's for the first day. It's not freezing cold, it's just cold. I thought I would go ahead and do that. So I'll let you guys go ahead and hop on in here. I don't claim to be a dietitian or a fitness expert, but I am just another gal out here trying to stay fit, trim, and healthy. So I thought I learned a lot of new things this season. So I want to just give you guys the free game on my fitness journey. And it took me way longer than it should for me to snatch off my 10 pounds. So I have about another 10 pounds to get to my goal, but I feel really good about it. So I thought I would let you guys in on all of the secrets and give you guys some insight on my little cortisol belly. Hold on, I gotta show you what it looks like, just to keep it real. So this is my lovely cortisol belly. It's pretty much, I would say it's gone. I would actually say it's gone, but I will say it hasn't been simple. It has not been simple. So I made a few mistakes, and then I'll also give you guys kind of what I think works well. The first mistake that I made is I started off just doing weightlifting because listening to different, I'll put it this way, the first mistake I made is I listened to different experts who all had some valid things to share, but each of them was speaking from a very specific perspective. And that's the mistake that I made. So some of the middle-aged fitness experts were giving me insight on the journey, and their thought was, I want you to build bone health. So they were all like, go to the gym, lift weights, etc., etc. Then I ran into other people who were like other fitness experts that were like hardcore muscle weightlifting, crazy levels of gym experts. And so they were like, you need protein, you need a lot of protein. And so with those people, I was like guzzling down all this protein, and I was like getting way more protein than I've ever had in my life. I feel like that positioned me to have a higher caloric intake than my body's used to having. I also, I think I might just park it here for a bit. I also witnessed that some people were like, you need to focus on building muscle. And they said that because as you get older, you got to build muscle in order to prevent fractured hips and osteoporosis and all these things. So all of the middle-aged women would all say, focus on muscle, focus on building muscle, because it's for bone health. It's for bone health. You should have started building your bone health in your 20s. I'm like, okay. So one person's telling me focus on weight training, muscle building. And for those of you guys who just hopped in, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit subscribe. I don't normally focus just on my fitness journey, but I'm going to have a little transparent moment. And I know you guys are going to love it because a lot of y'all are probably about to start getting ready for New Year's resolutions. Personally, I don't like New Year's resolutions. I like to get started before New Year. So New Year's is about my habits. So I've already shed my 10 pounds already. By next month, I'll be at goal. So I'll be walking into New Year's at goal, and I'll keep it there. So I want to give you guys a couple of updates, things that I learned that maybe some of you guys know, but I feel like this was news to me. So the first person was like, build muscle, focus on building muscle. And growing up, you always hear muscle burns fat. So that's what I was doing. Initially, rather than doing what always worked for me, which was, walking and jogging and intermittent fasting is what normally worked for me. Instead of doing that, I went right into weight training. And then with weight training, you've got to protect your muscle. So then you need protein, right? So in trying to increase my protein, I started listening to these muscle fitness experts, these big, massive dudes who were focusing on getting so many grams of protein. And so I stumbled on an expert that focused on the 30-30-30 method. And what I was doing in the beginning of my journey was just weightlifting. And after about a month or two, I saw like my arms were getting a little bit more shapely, but I literally was not losing really any, like I didn't really see much of a difference. So I started in May. I started as soon as I got out of school. I started working on my fitness journey, and a lot of ups and downs. For those of you guys just hopped in, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit subscribe. I'm going to give you all the free game on my fitness journey. So it has not been easy. It's taken me 7 months to get my 10 pounds off because I did so many wild things I've never done. But I want to go ahead and like let the cat out the bag on all my mistakes so that you guys don't make the same mistake going into your New Year's resolutions. I don't want anybody to do that. So hey everybody, hi. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know what time it is where you're watching. I'm in Atlanta, and it's 3:17 p.m. Eastern time. Let me know. Just so you guys know, it's taken me 7 months to lose 10 pounds, and it's just been crazy. It's been a crazy journey. So from May, I started as soon as I got out of school in May. In May, I was just doing weight training. I did weight training up and through like July. And by July, like in 2 months of working out, I've always ended up at goal. But some kind of way, it was 2 months in and I wasn't at goal and I freaked out. So now we're in July of this year. In July, I'm like, wait a second, I'm not at goal. What's going on? I need to figure out what to do different. So, I hadn't been upping my protein. So that's when I believe I started upping my protein, and I got all these different like protein shakes, which be careful with protein shakes. I got really clean protein shakes, but I was taking in more calories than I needed to. So some protein shakes are really meant to be like just food meal replacements. And it'll say that on the container, by the way, but I just kind of figured, you know, I needed that stuff. So I just was taking it. Okay. So I added these protein shakes that was adding unnecessary calories, that was increasing my caloric intake in a way that was not beneficial. I sat down and I calculated out how many calories I needed per day, like based on my like age, weight, and like my goals, like just like in the computer, right? Not like based on anything else. And so it gave me this really high number of calories. Like I put in like what I was doing, like what kind of activity level, my age, my body weight, and all that. And then it calculated what I thought, and that was my common sense kicking in, y'all. But I omitted common sense. And it said like I needed like some crazy amount of calories. And it was like, oh, if you go below 1,200 calories, you're endangering your hormones. And it was like, guys, don't trust ChatGPT for everything. Like it was like, if you go below 1,200 or something, you're just gonna mess up your hormones. It's gonna do this, it's gonna do that. And I'm like, so then I'm like literally taking all my effort all day to literally stuff my face to get all of the calories in and to get all of the protein in. This is what I learned about macros, by the way, things I've never heard of in my life. Macros, which is like getting enough fats, proteins, and calories, whatever, like the proportion of those things has to be right in order to get your perfect workout. That's what people were saying. These are the crazy things I listened to. Again, it was a mess. And it ended up having me just gaining weight. And I was like, now that I look back, why was I gaining weight? I was gaining weight because the calculation for the total amount of calories was way too high. I was gaining weight because I was taking in and consuming products that were like not whole foods, not natural foods, a bunch of protein shakes and things. I was doing stuff I had never done to my body, and my body was like, girl, what are you doing? Let's wait for the plane to pass. While y'all are in there, let me know where y'all are watching from. Let me see what's up in this chat. So I want to tell you really quick about my fitness journey. I'm gonna keep it short, but I do want to tell you because this was like a huge mess. I mean, I've been through some things here. All right, so the plane is gone. So the next thing that I did, sorry I'm wiggling so much. It's not like I have a tripod outside. So so I went through, and sorry I didn't comb my hair either, y'all. I'll do better. I'll do better later. I'll do better when I go live at night. This is what you get. All right, so hello over there in the UK. Hi New Zealand. I'm telling you guys about my fitness journey because it's been quite a nightmare to get 10 pounds off in 7 months, which should not be the case. But I tried too many new things, and I want to tell you the things I did wrong, and I'll also tell you what worked for me because I know a lot of people are trying to lose weight for the new year. Antarctica, hello Vibe Central Real. That is awesome that you live in Antarctica. Okay. All right, so let's talk about it. Where am I from? I'm from New Orleans and I live in Atlanta. So this is Atlanta. Just fell out of bed. Oh my gosh, South Africa in the house, welcome. Pacific Ocean. Okay, great. How's the water? Hope it's warm. All right, so the first thing I did, for those of you guys just hopped in, the first thing I did was I started weight training, which I haven't done since like my first round of college. That's not a bad thing. I don't have anything against weight training. But when I did weight training, I also thought that, okay, I got to protect the muscle that I'm putting on. So let me try to do these crazy things to increase my protein. I started taking in all these protein shakes. It was an enormous amount of calories. So now I'm like working against my weight loss by getting too many calories. So this is what's happening. And you guys are witnessing over my live. So thankfully, I've been going live throughout the entire journey. So I'm watching myself blow up and like I'm watching all of this crazy weight gain and all these weird things. And because I'm live, I'm like, what is going on with me? And it's just too many things, too many changes. Okay. So I started taking these protein shakes. I recommend you do that with caution because when you use protein shakes, if you're taking in protein shakes and there's a lot of calories in there, then it becomes a meal replacement and you're gonna kind of have too many calories for the amount of activity, and that's just gonna have you where you're not losing any weight. You know, are you still having good protein and probably doing well on the inside? Perhaps, but I wanted to lose weight. That was my goal, and I wanted to be healthy. All right, so the protein shakes were throwing me off, but I didn't realize it. So I kept going. Really the majority of this, out of the 7 months, like 6 of the 7 months, I kept doing the protein shakes, thinking that that was still ideal. So that was a big mistake. The next thing I did was I looked at macros and calculated macros on ChatGPT, and it told me basically that I needed a daily caloric intake that was a crazy amount. And then it warned me that if I went below 1,200 calories or something, that it would screw up my hormones. And then that would have me just in more of a mess with my metabolism. So I was like afraid to go down on my calories, which now I'm starting to eat a caloric intake that was crazy high. Also a big mistake. Then I was watching like one of these fitness gurus who's like a big muscle maniac. And I was doing like walks in the morning at that time. Now I'm doing them like around 3 o'clock, but I was doing them like 6 or 7 in the morning. This is before winter really kicked in because I could get up in the morning and do it. And it's before the sunlight was too high and before it would like all the sun rays would burn me. And it was before I would start work. So I was doing it early in the morning, but y'all, I'm not a workout person in the morning. I don't do mornings. In case you didn't know, I've never been a morning workout person. Even when I was young, I would work out at night or after work or something like that. I would never work out crack of dawn in the morning. Like, I just want to add that was a mistake. When you're forcing your body to do what's completely not natural to it, your body will not feel good doing that. Like, my body was like, you guys should have seen me at 6 a.m. literally, I felt like I had to tell God, God, can you give me a push? And he would like kick me in the back, and I'd throw myself out of the bed. And it literally, it would take me to be thrown out of the bed onto the floor almost. And then I'd be like sleepy, like washing my face sleepy, brushing my teeth sleepy, and then like, girl, just put the workout clothes on, put them on, and just get out the door. In some kind of way, I'd be like, God, kick me out of the door. And I'd some kind of way stumble out of the door, and I'd be on my sleepy walk. I was doing this sleepy walk for a while when I found this muscle maniac, and this muscle maniac basically told me that I was making two mistakes, and he was right and wrong. He said that I should be being really careful about overstressing my body, and that at that time I was doing like intermittent fasting, kicking myself out of bed and working out at 7 a.m. And he was like, no, if you're intermittent fasting first thing in the morning and then working out on top of intermittent fasting, it's stressing your body. It's stressing your body. It's increasing your cortisol. As your cortisol goes up, which is true, you'll gain belly fat. That's true. As cortisol goes up, it's going to cause it's going to cause you to have wonky insulin related activity. Okay. So that's fine and true. But the reality is I'm just not a morning workout person. Like, I'm just not. And I think that's okay. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm working out in the morning. I'm kicking myself out of bed. He says you need to do the 30-30-30 method because you're stressing your body by making yourself work out on an empty stomach. You're going to need the calories and the protein specifically. You need the protein before you work out. So he was like, get 30 grams of protein first thing when you wake up. Which when I'm waking up in the morning, I'm not even ready to eat first thing when I wake up. I just want to like roll out of bed, open my computer up, do some work. I don't want to like work out. And I also don't want to eat 30 grams of protein when I still got the crust in my eye. All right, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe. Every now and then I'll give you an update on my fitness journey. I normally do like churchy content. But I do want to give you this update because I gave you guys an update like it was the summer. No, it was actually early like August-ish when I gave y'all the last update. And since then, it's been a rocky road and a mess. So I'm finally giving you guys an update because I finally figured out some new stuff. So he told me get the 30 grams of protein and then start the exercise. Well, 30 grams of protein for me was protein shakes. And my protein shakes were actually pretty clean. It has 130 calories in it. It had 18 grams of fat. And it had, in 2 scoops, it had 18 grams of fat, like 4 total fat calories. And I think it had 9 carbs. And the ingredients were actually pretty clean. So that part I did good. But it still did have some... it still did have some sugars in it. And I was trying to get to the 30 grams. So now I'm not, instead of taking 2 scoops, I'm taking like, a third scoop, right? To get like whatever I need to do to get my 30 grams in. So so that is high calorie now. We're talking about that with some milk, not milk, but like coconut milk. That is some high calories right there, y'all. So I'm starting off in the morning. So I've kicked myself out of bed. So I switched over from intermittent fasting and walking because this man said I'm stressing my body, which my body did feel stressed. That made sense to me. And he's like, oh, you're increasing your cortisol, which is just going to make you store body fat because your body's mad at you. And that's why you have belly fat. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I have a belly fat. So that makes sense. So stop stressing my body. So I started eating the 30 grams, then going for the walk. But I want you to keep in mind what I was doing wrong because I didn't know that then. I know that now. I did this for like 6 months of like crazy, stupid stuff. So in the midst of that walking, protein stuffing practice that I was doing, I didn't realize that in the morning on an empty stomach, mind you, on an empty stomach, I'm taking the protein shake. On an empty stomach, I'm taking the protein shake, which has some sugars in it. And this is the first thing that I'm eating off of a fasted body, first thing in the morning. That right there is going to cause an insulin spike. An insulin spike is actually going to cause you to store fat. that's working against myself. So these are the things that they're not going to tell you this stuff, y'all. It's taken me 7 months of crazy to figure all this out. So I'm over here in the morning doing my walk. So I'm exercising, but like, I'm like exercising, but still fat. Exercising, but still fat. This is what I'm going through. Okay, so finally, it's been months of that. And I'm like, okay, so I stopped like just walking and went back to the gym and started walking and going to the gym. I'm like, okay, we got to kick it up a notch. It's been a couple of more months. I think that's around the time that I went live and I told you guys what I was doing around August. I had already been weightlifting for a couple of months. It didn't do a thing. Then I had started doing my walks around the neighborhood and then added the gym. I mean, I got to tell you that I looked a little bit better, but still wasn't perfect. So then I started focusing on macros. And so now to get all the macros, y'all, is a whole second job. You got to count everything. You got to weigh stuff. You got this, you got that. That stuff will have you, just letting you know. Okay. So I'm in Atlanta. This is the United States, guys. So I just want you to know, so I started doing all this. So then I'm counting my macros. Now I'm like, I'm busy, y'all. So I don't have time for all this like major cooking. So I was doing, hey, Northern Ireland, how are you guys? I was doing all this like basic throw food together stuff. So either it's like salad or it's like tuna or I'm like having some nuts. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to supplement this with a protein bar. And like, when you think about it, like these were not whole foods. These were not like DanielFast tasting foods. This is like I'm rushing, trying to go from one thing to the next. I'm trying to get my this many hours walk. I'm trying to get my gym in. I'm trying to like go live. I'm trying to work. And I'm just like, this is all bad. This is just all bad. Am I getting the macros? Yeah, I got the macros in for a while, which was work because you're thinking about every meal. So I did get the macros in and it was working at a certain point. But it was a lot of like, I didn't feel like I was eating anything natural. I felt like my whole bloodstream was going to turn into a powdered, I don't know. I thought I was just going to turn into a protein shake. I thought if you cut me, I was going to bleed protein shake. Okay. So then I'm like, okay, I don't know how this is working. I'm going to like try this de-bloat detox. And so I found this product that's like just like very natural, like raspberry leaves, this kind of leaves. It's basically all natural. It's nothing crazy in there. And I take it and yeah, it does de-bloat. It does de-bloat right away. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I use that detox like maybe 2 times. And then I'm like, okay, I go back to like, okay, I'm just going to start eyeballing my food. So now I'm not like focusing on like perfectly counting the macros. Now I'm like eyeballing the macros. Also, like you can kind of eyeball them, but I don't fully recommend that. So it's all kind of labor intensive. Like, does that sound sustainable? Like you're having to look and be like, I mean, the good news is what I learned from counting macros is I learned that when you look at your plate, you should be thinking, always have a protein. Like that's what I learned from counting macros. Like if you're going to get your macro count for the day, I learned that you have to basically always look, do you have meat on your plate? And do you have like some veggies? And actually I wasn't getting enough carbs at a certain point. So I almost like passed out from low blood sugar at a certain point. So then I started like putting like an apple a day in my diet and trying to like get my blood sugars back up. A lot of these things, the yo-yo it was such a mess. So, that being said, I know that sounds like such a mess, but this is like 7 months of my whole life. I hope that you guys get it. I hope that you guys get that this is like a whole science. And again, the big mistake that I made is I was listening to the middle-aged women who were saying build muscle, which is not wrong. That's actually not wrong. But when they say build muscle and that you also need protein, that gets kind of wonky because like, what do you mean you need more protein? Because then I think I was getting so much protein that I don't know. I don't even think it made sense. Then you listen to the muscle builders who are like, you need to make sure you eat first thing in the morning. Well, if you're like going to boot camp, maybe, but the rest of us normal people who do like some little feminine girl style workout, we don't need to be doing all this eating first thing in the morning. Who does that, actually? That's not even what my body wants. My body doesn't even want to eat first thing in the morning. So that was dumb. That was bad advice. So I officially, I reject the 30-30-30 method. I officially reject that. I tried it. It didn't work for me. It wasn't my idea. It's written in a book by someone else. It didn't work for me. I also think I officially reject the idea of eating first thing in the morning. Like, if you're not hungry at first thing in the morning, maybe you don't need to eat. However, when you do eat, here's what I did learn. What I've learned is that the first thing you eat after fasting of any kind, be it the first thing you eat in the morning or the first thing you eat after a fast, when you break your fast, it's like your body is pure. Imagine, like, you got hosed off, you got like, you shined up, your whole skin is bling blinging, like, you are in good shape. And then the first thing you eat when you wake up makes a huge difference in the whole day. So when you wake up, if you're gonna eat bad, don't have it be the very first thing you eat when you wake up. Also, if you spike your sugar when you first wake up by anything, if you eat something that spikes your sugar, you're going to have a sugar crash. You're going to feel tired. You're going to have cravings. You're going to want to like eat. You're going to want to like overeat. It's going to mess you up big time. Not only that, but a spike in your blood sugar is going to make you take all of your fat and store it. So that is the biggest problem. So that 30-30-30 guy, where he messed me up is he's like a bodybuilder. I'm doing some like girly like workout. I'm not lifting heavy weight. I'm not sweating like crazy. I'm doing some girly workout. I don't require immediate food as soon as I roll out of bed. Nor do I require like 30 grams of protein immediately when I roll out of bed. I don't require that. What I could do instead is wake up, and if I want to go for a walk in the morning, I can go for a walk. It's okay if that walk is fasted. That's not going to hurt anybody. A walk is such light activity. It's not going to hurt you to walk fasting. So that lie that he told me, oh man, your walk is going to increase your cortisol. No, it's not. You know what's going to increase my cortisol? When I kick myself out of bed when it's still dark outside to do something that my body doesn't want to do at 7 a.m. and at 6 a.m. That kick out of the bed I was giving myself, honey, that right there was increasing my cortisol, not the walk with no food. So, work out when it's good for you to work out, but not after dark, obviously. Work out when it's good for you, when your body feels like, okay, if it's lunchtime and your body feels like, oh, it's noon, I can work out, then go work out. If it's like 3 or 5 and you want to work out, okay, then go work out. Don't do it at night because it messes up your sleep pattern, which means you're going to be high energy at night, which means your cortisol is going to be running high. It's going to be running high. You're going to start storing all your fat. That's what that's going to mean. So that's where the balance comes in. I was working out at night a lot before. That wasn't good for my sleep. If I'm not sleeping good at night, that means my cortisol is going up, and that's going to mean I'm going to store more fat. So it's working against me, even if it's working for me. So ultimately, there's no net benefit. There's very little net benefit, if that makes any sense. You guys are funny. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I want to tell you guys about my fitness journey really quick. So number one thing is I'm not a morning workout person, and I'm never going to be a crack of dawn workout person. You see what time it is? It's the middle of the day. It's nearing the end of the day. This is the time of day I need to work out. My work is done for work. You know, whatever I'm doing for work is usually done at this time of day. You know, this is a time of day that I'm awake, I'm alert. If I needed to have food, I've already had like breakfast and lunch or whatever I wanted to eat. I've got full energy. I'm wide awake. I don't feel like anybody kicked me to be here. So this is all what I call like a reasonable idea. Like, this is not, it's still dark outside working out. It's not. So this is good. So I've already had a lot of protein today. This is good. I've not had anything to spike my blood sugar today. This is good. So work out the time of day that you want to work out. That's rule number one. Rule number two, when someone gives you advice, qualify their advice by who's their audience. That's the thing. So if you are like a girl, let's say you're a girl and you're going to do some light girl workout, or let's say you're a dude and you're not like going to be hitting like pushing bench pressing 100 pounds. Let's say you're not doing that. If you're going to do some light workout, when these guys tell you need to like double your caloric intake and all these things, that is for people who are doing crazy levels of gym. This is if you're training with like a Marine. So when you get these crazy levels of calories that you've never eaten in your life and someone tells you to eat all that and you're like, I spend my day just eating food because they told me to. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. So I was actually gaining weight the first few months because I'm taking in all these calories, trying to do with all these like these Marine level muscle gurus are saying, but at the same time, guys, they lift like 200-pound bench presses. These guys are like training like a Marine. They're jogging for years. Like they're doing crazy levels of stuff. They need those calories. I don't. I'm outside going for a couple hours walk and lifting like 5-pound dumbbells. I don't need all those extra calories. So actually, I was like doing crazy stuff and it was making me gain weight. I was gaining weight. Too many calories for the amount of activity. So use some common sense. You know, I would also say before you even start your fitness regimen, maybe just don't start. Just first start with like a diet calendar and like just don't change anything. Just write down what are you eating throughout the day. Do that for like 7 days. Then put that in ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, this is what I ate for day 1, day 2, all the way to day 7. And say, ChatGPT, what's my average caloric intake? What are my macros looking like based on that? Tell me what I've been doing. That is a good starting point. From there, if you're going to add exercise and you think you're going to be burning more and you don't want to lose the muscle that you're trying to gain, then what you're doing is you're saying you're not going to go like 0 to 60 overnight, which is what I did. I went from eating basically nothing to eating like some crazy 3,000 calorie diet stuff. It wasn't 3,000, but it was way more than I had been eating. Okay, it definitely wasn't 3,000 calories. But it was like you should be going little by little, day by day with calorie increases, not like 500 calories and 1,000 calories more all of a sudden, shaking it all up. That's going to immediately make you fat. And you're not going to be able to burn that off as much as you're eating. So I have to go back and look and see what my research say. I think it maybe said at like 40 calories a day, little by little, to your regimen. You're not supposed to be like 40 calories at 40 calories a day, like, and then add to that little by little. Don't go from, even if you need more calories, don't like throw it on. And this is the same thing that you do if you hit a plateau. If you hit a plateau with like your workout and your weight loss, even if like, let's say you suddenly start losing too much weight and you want to like stop that, don't suddenly throw like a bunch of new calories on. Little by little add the calories because you don't want to mess it all up. And if you need to take them away, like little by little take them away. You know what I mean? That'll help you make the adjustments. I was like flipping the whole thing upside down, taking in a bunch of more calories, thinking, oh yeah, I'm the bodybuilder. Hear me roar. No, I was just making myself fat on top of the fact that I wanted to lose weight. So I went from kind of like chubby to like too fat and bloated. Then I'm like, now I really got weight to lose. It was a mess. Anyway, so recently what I've done is it's working now. I finally figured everything out and I realized it's not that those people were lying. They don't have bad advice. Their advice is targeted for basically their followers. Believe that. So the middle-aged lady who was telling me, you need to focus on building your muscle. It's good for your bone health. Well, she's telling me that because she's middle-aged and her whole following is middle-aged ladies who are trying to like balance hormones and be healthy as they retire. I'm like, okay, her advice is not bad, but her advice is meant for her target audience. Now I see the sneaky tricks. The muscle builder, the like bodybuilder guy I was listening to, his 30-30-30 method is not bad. bad. It's not bad advice. It's just advice that's meant for like if you're training with a Marine, or if you're like going hard and you're a dude and you're like bench pressing 200 pounds. Like, yeah, you need to like eat first thing in the morning so you could bench press 200 pounds. That makes sense for them. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. This little girl goes to the gym to be seen and looked at more than anything else, and more than the amount of sweat that I'm making. So I did not need to be eating like crazy. I've learned that lesson now. You know, the more you know. Also, I learned that protein shakes are probably not a great fit for me because I like to chew my calories rather than drink them. And so if I add a protein shake to my regular food, then I'm probably going to be overeating the amount of calories per day compared to how much I burn. So that's only going to make me store what? Fat. Then the next thing that I learned is insulin spikes with the type of food that I'm eating and the combinations of food that I'm eating. This is what I realized. I realized first thing in the morning when that guy was telling me to have my protein shake, he probably was drinking like a protein shake that had no sugar. Like it probably was tasteless and like odorless and just yucky. And I was having a protein shake that I enjoyed quite a bit. So my protein shake had some sugar in it. And that is a bad idea first thing in the morning, turns out, because that little bit of sugar will increase your insulin first thing in the morning, if not, especially if not paired with some protein, like with like enough protein. So that protein shake first thing in the morning is a bad idea for me, a girl who wants to lose weight, because as soon as I drink it, if it's got some sugar in it, it's actually gonna spike my insulin, make me store fat. So even though I needed the protein, I'm also storing fat. So I'm working against myself. So no more protein shakes in the morning. Also, if you're like a person who's going to break your diet and go crazy, don't ever go crazy first thing in the morning, and don't ever go crazy if you're coming out of a fast of some kind. If you're going to go crazy, don't. Go pray if you're going to go crazy. Actually, don't go crazy. But if you are, it matters even more if you go crazy first thing in the morning. That is literally when your body is most pure, is after any kind of a fast. If it's an intermittent fast, if it's first thing in the morning, your body is in a fasted state. So whatever you eat first thing in the morning, it's going to blow your, not just that moment, it's going to blow the entire day. That's what I will tell you. So something that's high sugar first thing in the morning, like those cereals and stuff, never do that. Never, ever do that. That was what people did in America when they were trying to basically hurt Americans by fattening them up. And it worked. It worked well. So we shouldn't be eating like those like off of the like in the middle of the store sugary cereals in the morning. That's a horrible idea. Never do that. I wasn't doing that, but that's just a horrible idea. Okay, so better to have like an egg in the morning. There's your protein. You're getting some protein. It's super good for you. Don't do much to it. Just eat an egg or two. That's a good way to start the morning, and that's far better. It's not going to spike your insulin. It's not going to make you store fat. It's not going to make you. As a matter of fact, it's good for you. The next thing I would say is if you are, if you're going to have the protein shake, you probably are going to need to have it later in the day. And you're going to balance it. You're going to balance a shake that has some sugar. If it's got like a 4 grams of sugar kind of a thing, you're going to balance that by eating some more, something solid, stable with it. Like maybe have an egg and then have your protein shake like an hour or so later, or, you know, something like that. You're not trying to like drink that protein shake and spike your sugar and not like slowly like move through the day with that amount of sugar. Now, sugar is not bad, but you don't want these major spikes in your sugar, because all that's going to do is make you store. And if you're trying not to store, then you're going to store. That's what it's going to do. Hi over there in the UK. So the next thing that I'm going to say that I think we should, what's the other thing I wanted to tell you? So caloric intake. Just be careful with your caloric intake, because if you just chat GPT your age, your age and your activity level, it may give you a caloric intake that's way higher than your actual needs. That's something that I did, and I thought it was a huge mistake. I would just say first start with understanding what's your current diet now. Put that in ChatGPT. Like, do a food diary for 7 days and put your 7-day food diary inside of ChatGPT, and then say, calculate my macros now and calculate all that now and tell me how many average calories a day am I eating right now. That's your benchmark place. Then either you're going slightly up or slightly down from that, depending on weight loss or weight gain that you want to do. But if you do some major flip, your body is going to be like, what you doing to me? That's what your body's going to do. I promise you. Because that's what my body did. Go look at the past videos. My body weight was like, my body was like, stop. Stop everything. Do you guys know what I'm saying? All right, so there's that. The last thing I will say is they spoke really negatively about fasting, which is something that I had always done in the past. Intermittent fasting is something I typically did as a dance instructor to get people ready for shows and to get myself ready for shows. So I hadn't been doing intermittent fasting, thinking that that's kind of a bad idea. But I will just say wholeheartedly, that is a lie from the pits of hell. Intermittent fasting is still a good thing to do. That's still a good thing to do. So what I finally did was, here's the benefit of all those mistakes. I was in a plateaued state from having really a restricted diet before I graduated. I was under a really restricted diet. The last year before I graduated, I was under like severe caloric restriction, and I was skinny, but I was skinny and malnourished with low calories. So that's not a healthy version of skinny. Like, that's the version of skinny that'll have you like your nails break in, and it'll have you shrivel up, wrinkle up, and age. That's an aging kind of thing. That's not good for you. So severe caloric restriction can't be maintained. Your metabolism will eventually come down. And then if you eat as much of a peanut, you'll gain weight right away. So severe caloric restriction is actually super bad for long-term maintenance. So I realized like last year I had done a severe caloric restriction. And then when I got ready to eat anything, any little thing that I ate, I immediately gained weight. Immediately I gained some weight. So what would I do? I go back to like restricting calories again. But you can't live like that. You've got to calculate. That's when your food diary comes in. Don't ChatGPT, what should I be eating? How many calories? Don't do that. Once you're already messed up with either a really bad, severe caloric restriction, you need to find out exactly where you are. Put your food diary for 7 days. Don't change anything. Put your food diary in ChatGPT. Ask it to tell you how many calories a day are you getting. Hi, far away, welcome. Ask me, tell me how many calories am I taking right now. Tell me my macros right now. Then you need to slowly. Now you're in a caloric restriction and you plateaued. So if you exercise, you're not losing weight. If you eat, you easily gain weight. This is a bad situation to be in. But you're going to slowly increase your calories. Slowly. Don't just hit the plate with more calories thinking I'm about to go to the gym. No, that's how you get fat. That's what happened to me. I was like, oh, I didn't do a food diary in the beginning. I simply ChatGPT'd, this is my height, this is my weight, I want to lose weight. This is my activity. How many calories do I need to be eating? So I went from eating nothing to doubling my caloric intake. So if I was getting like 1,000 calories, which is probably what I was getting, I went from that to like 2,000 calories, like something. I went from like 1,000 to like 1,750 calories, something crazy. Do you hear me? That is not wise. So when I flipped my caloric intake that quick, my fat level went up astronomically. And I was like, what is going on? I am fighting my entire body trying to lose weight. So I started off in a severe caloric restriction. I should have slowly teeter-tottered, slowly increased calories, slowly, not gone from 1,000 calories to 1,750. That was not smart. Okay? That's one of the mistakes I made. The second mistake that I made is listening to fitness experts who were giving information that was accurate, but only for their specific target audience. The Marine guy was talking to dudes who lifted 200 pounds, so he's going to tell them, eat first thing in the morning, eat all this food, take in your calories. That was making little old me fat because little old me was not lifting 200 pounds. The middle-aged lady who was giving fitness advice, it wasn't that she was wrong. She was talking to women who were like, people that were like middle-aged and like literally trying to fix their hormones and stuff. So she's like, hey, we want to get you ready for retirement. Okay, I'm nowhere near retirement. So do you guys see what I'm saying? So with all of that, those people all gave me pearls of wisdom. And then ChatGPT, a liar from the pits of hell. ChatGPT is not wrong, but he also ain't right, okay? So ChatGPT wasn't telling me, hey, have you considered your current food diary? ChatGPT was just like, oh, for your age and for your height and for your activity level, you need to have like almost 2,000 calories. If you go down too low, your body's gonna fall apart. It was like doing scare tactics. So I was afraid to go like to a 1,200 calorie situation. It was like scare tactics. Like your hormones could get messed up. You need oils and fats because I was like, but my goals are weight loss goals. Anyway, okay, guys, so you guys hear what I'm saying. So food diaries are helpful. Put your food diary in ChatGPT. If you're going to use ChatGPT for your caloric intake, put your food diary in ChatGPT first before you do macros. If you're doing macros, you kind of need to know where you begin. And if you're going to use ChatGPT, ask it, if this is my goal and this is where I am, how do you recommend me getting there? Like week by week. How many more calories per day? How much more protein per day? How many more fats per day? How do you recommend me getting there step by step from 1,000 to 1,750? If 1,750 is your goal, how do I get there, ChatGPT? T. This is what you tell ChatGPT. You got to tell him exactly what you want. Otherwise, he just lies. He's a liar. He's like your ex-girlfriend. Okay. Now, the next thing is this idea of intermittent fasting. Well, I was afraid to do intermittent fasting because, like, I felt like I had plateaued in the beginning, so I didn't want to do any more of that because I felt like I had done so much intermittent fasting in the past that my whole body is past that's like done. But no, what I actually needed was I was in a plateau phase. I needed to get out of my plateau with a super bad caloric restriction. That required me to slowly increase my calories, slowly over time. And then once I slowly increased my calories and my body got used to a little bit more calories, then my metabolism would adjust up. So if I was just going to be sedentary, my baseline metabolism would have slowly raised up a little bit. That's what I was missing. I should have slowly raised my metabolism first by slowly increasing caloric intake little by little by little. I should have done that. Baby steps. Not like going from 1,000 to 1,750 overnight. I literally was like shoving my face with food overnight and then getting fat. So little by little, if you're in a plateau, little by little, change your caloric intake. If you've plateaued or you've been on a severe caloric restriction because you've been doing it the wrong way for too long, slowly, little by little. Ask ChatGPT how many calories per day should you increase before you get to your thing, all right? So that's what I did wrong. That's why I just went from regular to fat when I was losing weight, when I was working out. I actually went from regular to fat when I was trying to lose weight. I was okay in the beginning, and I went from regular to fat trying to lose weight. Then I had real problems and literally needed to lose weight. First, it was like for vanity. Then it was like, oh my gosh. Then it was like, oh my gosh. So this is real talk, y'all. Somebody's going to benefit from this. I can promise you. Okay. So then I finally just added back. Now you have to remember, the good thing that came from all of this is I was able to, I didn't do it the right way, but I did get out of the calorie restriction. I mean, 7 months of eating crazy amounts of food, I'm no longer at the calorie restriction level. Now my metabolism has adjusted to eating a ton of food, right? I don't recommend getting there the way I got there. You could have just gone little by little and not took the hit with all the extra like body parts. You know, I didn't have to take that hit. I took a hit for it. Nevertheless, here we are. My metabolism is okay now. It's like my resting metabolism, I can eat more than 1,000 calories and not gain weight. That's a win. I mean, I suppose a win's a win, right? And no, I'm not going to recommend GLP-1s. I don't recommend that. I'm not saying that it's all bad, but I'll tell you about that later. I have more information on that for you. I'm not taking any GLP-1s. So I don't recommend that, but check with your doctor, see if it's right for you. And this is not medical advice. This is just my personal journey. But I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so now that at least I can eat more without just gaining weight, I can eat and then not gain weight. That's a win. I finally got my caloric restriction fixed. So now I can eat normal amounts of food like a normal person and not gain weight. That's good. Finally, we're back to normal. My metabolism is no longer broken. But I should have instead, little by little, gotten to where I needed to be in order to move my metabolic rate out of the like danger zone. I should have done it little by little. I know, no better, do better now. So now that I'm here, now I can go back to intermittent fasting. I can go back to that and it will work. And I could do it like once a week and it will work. Does that make sense? So if I were to do intermittent fasting now, it's not going to like throw me off. And it's also very biblical, guys. Go look at book of Daniel. Daniel was like fasting and it worked for him. Daniel went and he ate like a wholesome Jewish diet, and he wasn't even eating all the luscious, luxurious king's foods. And look at him. Like, they were all expecting him to like fall apart and get all skin and bones. And then the Bible says he was like looking his best. So I love that. So I just want to be like Daniel when I grow up. He's one of my favorite biblical characters. So I just want to be like him. So anyways, so now I've gone back to intermittent fasting. And I want to share with you a few highlights of intermittent fasting that can be useful. So I ended up having an allergic reaction. This is also why I got into it. About a week ago, I ended up having an allergic reaction and my whole body swole up. It was a problem. It was a big problem, okay? So I ended up with like hives all over. I was super swollen. It was not a good look. It's one of the days recently I went live and I looked kind of like chubby, but I wasn't. I was inflamed because I had an allergic reaction. And I didn't want to take antihistamines because, you know, she don't like medicines. I'm a natural girl, okay? I didn't want to take medicines. So I believe taking medicine when you need to, but I'm more of a like, you know, holistic medicine kind of a girl. Like, I don't really like the idea of taking medicines if you don't have to. I figure fix it at the root. That'll fix it permanently. So I ended up saying, well, I could take some antihistamines because I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, what has happened to me? But I'm slowly becoming an herbalist, kind of. I realized that I could just do a quick fast. So I did, and this is harsh. I don't recommend a fast this long, but I did a 36-hour fast. because around 24 hours, your body hits autophagy, which is like really strong cell turnover. And you're like, literally, your body is like healing itself, literally. Okay. Like, it's a good thing. I hit the 24 hours and I was still doing okay. So I was like, okay, let me keep going and see if I can hit the 36. But, around 36, I'll stop. So I did a 36-hour fast. After that 36-hour fast was done, and this is like fast with no food, just water. Okay. I don't recommend that if you're new to fasting, by the way. I'm not advising you. This is like, I've done fasting for church related purposes before. So I can do a 24-hour fast and I can do a 48. I've done a 72. 72 is really hard. I've done 24 and 48. I'm not in the same condition. So even the 36 was hard for me. That was hard for me. I don't recommend that. I've not fasted for like 2 years. So my body wasn't ready for it. But I was like, I don't want to take antihistamines. I want to kick that stuff out. I want to kick it out the natural way. So I did the 36-hour fast. Y'all, my inflammation was gone. Gone. It was gone. I didn't even need, I looked the swelling on my arms, it was bad, y'all. It was bad. I had hives all over. I was about to call my mama, but I didn't want to worry her, I was about to call my mama, who's also a nurse. But, I was like, let me just do this. I wasn't going to call my mom, y'all. I was just going to go get my antihistamines. But I was like, before I do the antihistamines, let me at least try to do a fast. So I did a 36-hour fast. I kicked out most of that allergic reaction. It was painful, by the way. And then I had to slowly ease myself back into eating again, which I made the mistake of going right into eating a salad. And at that point, I hadn't been researching my salad dressings. So I put salad dressing on my salad. That was a mistake, but I know better, do better now. But I ate a salad, and then I was that was not so easy on the digestion. So I've since gone and got me some bone broth, which is high in protein and probably going to be easier after a fast, coming out of a fast. So I'm going to try something like that next time. But I did the fast. I came out of it, and since then I've been slowly moving into a hardcore, very strong, good diet regimen that honestly has changed my life. It's changed my life, y'all. Okay, so since then I have taken out the salad dressings and started making my own. I used to do that when I did DanielFasting. I would make my own stuff. So I kind of you know what? It's holiday time. I have time to do this stuff the right way. I'm not that busy. Let me go hard. Okay. So I made my own, I got me some apple cider vinegar. I got me some Dijon. I got me some extra virgin olive oil, mixed it up, crushed me some garlic, put that in there, put some mint in there, mixed it up and put that and cut up some cucumber, put that, mix it all in, and then put it with some green onion and some red onion. My gosh. Now, that's a little bit hard on the tummy, a little spicy, a little hard on the tummy. However, super anti-inflammatory, super low calorie, really, really good. Really, 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 really good for you. High in water, high in fiber. The cucumbers are so good for fiber. It's going to make you feel full, and you're not going to have a bunch of calories. So you're not going to be hungry. You're going to chew as much as you want, and you're not going to be eating unnecessary calories. This is good stuff. So talk about reducing inflammation is a good thing. All right. So I've eaten that. I've gone back to my fish and my eating salmon and eating salad, but making my own dressing and stuff. So I'm cutting out all of the oils that cause inflammation, because don't forget, I just had an allergic reaction. We don't need any more of that, do we? Inflammation? Nope. So no seed oils, no soybean oil, all those oils, none of that, unless it's maybe an avocado oil or maybe a, oil. No canola oil, soybean oil, seed oils at all. Just extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. That's it. no other kind of oils. I use that to make my dressing. It was delicious. And I have been taking out, like, I've started using, like, I'm just saying, like, I've cut out anything. I'm very, very now, I'm like all of a sudden looking at the sugar content, and I realize that you can have your sugar. You need sugar, by the way. You need some carbohydrates in your life, but try to get complex carbohydrates. So I got rid of my white bread again. I had gotten rid of it before, but I went back to it. So now I've gotten rid of my white bread again, because it's going to cause your insulin to spike, and then you're going to store fat again. And I want to be in fat burning mode. So now I'm going to, what I've done is I've switched to, like, when I need some sugars, like, I've got, like, my complex carbs, which are like black beans, and I rinse them and drain them just from the can. Keep it simple. I'll take a green apple, because green apples are better than red for lower sugar. And they're also complex carbs. But you want to do your apple with a protein at the same time. So that changes the rate of speed that your insulin will spike. So this is good diabetic advice, by the way. I mean, I'm not giving you medical advice, don't want to get sued, but you know what I'm saying. But this is good advice if you want to just be fit and trim. So if you eat an apple, like, eat it with, like, a serving of cheese. If you're going to eat an apple, eat it with, like, one egg or something. Don't just eat it by itself. So if you're going to wake up and have yourself an apple a day, don't be like an apple just by itself, because it's going to, like, run up your sugar, and then back to storing. It's got natural sugar in it. You're going to end up taking fat, storing fat. You want to get out of every spike you can get out of. You want to, like, coast through your sugar spike. You want to coast, not like roller coast, but just coast. You know what I mean? Anywho, those are my tips. Take it or leave it. I'm skinny. My cortisol belly is gone, but now we're going beast mode. Okay, y'all. I'm skinny again. This is my baseline. This is where I started before I did bad things to myself. But no, I was bigger than this. I had more belly than this. But now we're going beast mode. Beast mode does not mean lift 200 pounds, because I'm still a girl. Beast mode means beast mode with the diet. Beast mode means beast mode with diet. You guys, I just want you to know, you can do it too. All right, I'm going to show you before I go. I got to show you my cortisol belly. This is my cortisol belly. I got to go this way, I suppose. This is my cortisol belly. It's not there anymore. Like, I don't know if you can really see it. It's really not there anymore. Can I lose another? Yeah, I can lose a few. But honestly, it's not the same. That's all you're ever going to get out of seeing me. It's because I got layers on. I could actually show you. Can you guys see that? My cortisol belly. I used to have a belly that was, after I tried to lose weight, I actually gained it. So it got really bad for a minute, but I'm trying to show you. It's hard to show you and hold a phone because I don't have a tripod. Sorry. But cortisol belly is basically almost gone. It's almost gone. So, yeah, eat your medicine. And that's really all I have to say. And drink more water and avoid high fructose corn syrup. That's not good for you. Yeah, what belly? Exactly, what belly? It's gone. So my belly is gone, but my belly was like literally, how far was it out? It probably looked more like, not this. This is not that big. It probably was here, like right there at the worst. And not only that, but then I was like getting all this crazy, like this is that messed me up. I started getting fat on my back. I'm like, who gains weight in their back? Who gains weight in their back? I started getting fat on my back. It was like right here, like my armpit, like behind there. Like, what was all that? So that was scary. Anywho, it worked. It was a painful process. Be careful who you listen to for fitness advice, because I'm not saying that they are not well-intentioned individuals. These are great people. These are all great humans, but they were speaking to their specific target audience. The lady was speaking to people that were like trying to prepare for retirement. So she was telling them, lift weights. And I don't know, for me, that just didn't work for me. And the fitness guru guy that was like a muscle maniac, he was telling you, eat, and get your protein, eat your macros. And I was like, stuffing my face all day long, basically overeating. The only value that was good that I got from that is I learned how to literally eyeball a plate for macros. And I also learned that I actually got myself out of my caloric restriction through the worst possible mechanism ever, by getting fat. By getting fat, I got out of my caloric restriction. Yeah, that happened. But then I fixed it. All right, guys. So anyways, happy fitness journey for those of you out there. Reduce your insulin spikes, and it'll help you not store your fat. So you get rid of your cortisol belly too. That's what I say. Those are my tips. And go to sleep early on time at night, and try to go to sleep and wake at a regular time each day, because if you go to sleep on time, it'll help reduce your cortisol levels, and that will also help you to not be as inflamed or puffy, or you won't store belly fat, because increased cortisol makes you store your belly fat, and it also increases like your insulin resistance. So you're going to store fat if you're not sleeping. So try to get good sleep. And even if you go live with me at night, like, just hang up. Like, don't stay on live with me all night. Anywho, everybody, I hope this one found you guys well. Don't expect an update until I hit goals. I'm 10 pounds off, and I went 10 more pounds off until I hit goal. So, maybe it'll happen next month, y'all. That would be fun. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be in the new year. But if you haven't already, I just encourage you guys, honestly, all jokes aside, get started on your fitness journey. I say that because you don't want to wait till New Year's. Like, there's no better time than the middle of the winter. You're in the middle of the winter. Nobody can see you. A win is a win. And by New Year's, you're already in routine. You got a habit. Like, I'm already in habit now, right? That's what you want. So now I'm so careful about, like, I literally figured out, like, even my protein shakes, I need to pretty much avoid them. And if I do have my protein shake, I need to have an egg first. And I don't need all of them, because I'm going to just eat my food instead of drink my food, because that's what I prefer. I don't want to drink my food. And I don't need to add to it, because those protein shakes were meal replacements, because I didn't need that many calories to begin with. So be careful with your caloric levels, because that'll have you messed up. And just like me, go from regular to extra thick, and then you're trying to lose all this weight. For a second, I almost gave up. But anyways, if you're out there and you're trying, I love you guys. Hang in there. You can do it. One day at a time, 1 week at a time, one meal at a time. Okay, guys. Bye, everybody.